In this video, I'm gonna be telling you all the secrets you need to know to farm fruits 10 times more efficiently. Okay, so first up, we got the most useless way to get fruits in the whole of Blox fruits. And it's not really fruits, it's just specifically just one exact fruit. And this is from the doghouse, also known as Wenlock. And the place you can find this is underneath the huge tree that's located on the second sea of where the diamond boss spawns. Once you walk into the secret area and talk to the doghouse, it's gonna say, woof woof, yo bro, wanna buy a physical kilo fruit for 97 Robux. You can trade it in with the noob scientist for a special microchip. And then if you end up buying the fruit, I don't know what to tell you, you might have an IQ that's lower than 5. Me personally, I do not recommend this method because you're literally buying a kilo fruit for 97 Robux, and I don't really think that's a good deal. I'm pretty sure the devs just added this as a troll, and the only people that would buy this are Roblox millionaires, and I'm not one of them, and I also don't think any of you watching are. So let's go to the next one. So the very first way in this game that you can get fruits, and this is a method that a lot of you definitely did not know about, it's through an NPC called the Advanced Fruit Dealer, and the only place you can find this NPC is on a secret island called Mirage Island. I'm guessing a lot of you don't know what this is, so let me clue you in. So everyone knows that there are different sea events in the game, like when CB spawns and when ships attack you. Well, Mirage Island is one of those sea events that can happen, but this island can only spawn in the third sea. And this island's also useful for other things like race awakenings and getting things like blue gear, but the Advanced Fruit Dealer is also an extra thing to this island, and this is the only place he can be found at. The Advanced Fruit Dealer is exactly what he sounds like. He's just a fruit dealer, but an advanced version of him. And this guy makes the regular Blox fruit dealer look like a complete joke. So the Advanced Fruit Dealer has a minimum of 7 fruits in stock compared to the 3 fruits of the normal Blox fruit dealer. And you also have a way higher chance for legendary fruits to being in stock, and the normal dealer does not have this. And he also restocks every 2 hours, meanwhile the normal Blox fruit dealer restocks every 4 hours. But the thing is, when the Mirage Island spawns in, you only have around 15 to 20 minutes to find this guy and buy everything you want from him, and that's pretty difficult because this island is super huge and it limits your vision by a butt ton. Is waiting for the Mirage Island to spawn in just to find the Advanced Fruit Dealer worth it? In my opinion, yes, because you have a way higher chance of getting good fruits, but I already have most of the good fruits in the game, so I won't be needing this trick. But if you guys want to get your hands on some legendary fruits quick, this is definitely the way for you. So the next way you can get fruits in Blox fruits is through a method called the Pirate Raid, and a lot of you might not know this because I don't think a lot of you are in the third sea, and this is the only sea that you can actually grind this way. So everybody knows about the huge location on the map called the Castle on the Sea. This is literally the main area for third sea players to hang out. Literally everything's here. The spawn point NPC, the luxury boat dealer, the elite pirate, player hunters, the Blox fruit remover, mysterious scientist, cloakster, butler, and literally anything you need. But there's actually raids that happen on this place. Every hour and 15 minutes, a message will appear in the chat saying pirates have been spotted approaching the castle, and this is talking about the castle on the sea. And around 30 seconds after that message appears, the pirates will start raiding the castle. The galley pirates will start spawning, and they'll have way higher levels than normal. And the person that kills the last pirate in this raid will actually get a completely random Blox fruit. But you have to be the one that deals the finishing blow to the last enemy. You can't just be one person that does damage to it. And that's the reason why only one person gets this fruit. So if you're doing this in public servers, this is going to be extremely difficult for you, so I don't really recommend this way of grinding, and there are a bunch of different methods on this list that are slightly better. And another bonus to this raid, it will give you a low amount of 100 fragments if you defeat at least one pirate on it, so it isn't a complete loss even if you don't get the fruit. And a good way I recommend to farm this raid is wait for one to complete and then start a 1 hour 15-minute timer, so you know exactly when the next raid is about to start, so you can start camping the place and you can get started on the raid before any other players can. Okay, so the next fruit farm secret we got here is the factory raid, and the factory is a place that's located on the second sea island, and I'm sure you all have seen it. It's literally a massive building, you cannot miss it. And the place it's located is at the Kingdom of Rose, and it's pretty close to the cafe. And this raid happens every 1 hour and 30 minutes. So basically how it works is that there's a core inside the factory that has a total of 200,000 health, and every player that rushes in there just has to deal a butt ton of damage to the core, and the person that does the most damage to the core will get a random Blox fruit. And this is way more fair than the Castle on the Sea raid because you're actually getting the fruit by damage and not just the person that steals the last kill. If you did at least 10% damage to the core, then you also get a bunch of money, XP, and other drops, and also a 20% chance to get the Acidum rifle. And this is a really good gun, and I definitely recommend it for PvP. You literally don't even need to upgrade it, you just need its skills. And there's actually a pretty cool glitch to get into the factory before the raid even starts, and the way you do that is obviously using the flash step glitch. All you have to do is walk up to the entrance, turn your camera properly, and just click the flash step button, and boom, you're in. And this is exactly where the core is located, dead center of the building. And once that raid starts, just make sure you pummel it with all your abilities. Alright, the next method we got is a pretty obvious method, and this is trading. And depending on how you do it, you could end up losing a bunch of fruits or gaining a butt ton of them. You just need to know the right way to trade. And the special thing about trading in this game is that you don't only trade fruits with each other, you can also trade game passes. And the places you can trade in the game is at the cafe on the second sea and at the mansion on the third sea. You're gonna notice these tables with chairs on the map, and this is the place you trade at. You just have to sit down on one, and the person you want to trade with has to sit down on the other side. And some things you should know about trading is that you cannot have a total price difference of over 40%, which means you can't really trade a kilo fruit for a dough fruit. And the reason the devs added this is so you can't really just give an overpowered fruit to your noob friend that just joined the game. And just to make sure that fruits are being traded semi-fairly and that people don't get scammed fully. But in my opinion, there are some fruits that say they're worth a lot, but they really aren't in my book. Like in my opinion, I think the magma fruit is way better than the gravity, but the gravity fruit costs way more and has a higher trading value, which doesn't make any sense to me because the magma fruit has an awakening, making it one of the best grinding fruits in the whole game. Only second to the Buddha in my opinion. You can trade up to 5 times every 8 hours, and you can actually bypass this method by giving fruits to your alt account and trading from that. So if I were you, I would just stick to the limit. Overall, trading is a really good method to get fruits if you're smart with it, and if you guys are looking to trade, I recommend you use Discord servers. And speaking of Discord servers, you should join mine down in the description. Okay, so let's go on to the next fruit farm secret. Alright, next up we got another sea event, and this one is called the Shipmate, and it's one out of the 4 sea events that can happen in the second and third sea. And for this specific one, it works in both seas. This sea event was added to the game in update 17 part 2, and the way it works is that when you're just sailing your boat across the water, a bunch of ships will spawn in. A barrage ship and 2 normal ships. The barrage ships will always have way more HP than the 2 basics, so if you want to start out the raid, I recommend you get the basic ships out of the way first. And there's 2 different ways this raid can end. 1, you destroy all their ships, or 2, your boat sinks. And keep in mind, only area of damage attacks work on it, so I definitely recommend the Awakened Magma for this. It'll make this raid 10 times easier. Another thing I recommend is having the shark race. This will make it really easy because even when you fall in water, you won't really take any damage. But just make sure you at least have the V2 or V3 version of it. And if you have the V4, way better. These raids will literally be a joke to you. And once you complete defeating all the ships, it's actually not guaranteed that you will get a Blox fruit. You have around a 10 to 20% chance of getting a random fruit. So this isn't really the best way to grind fruits, but there are worse ways on this list. Trust me. And even if you don't get the fruit, you get a 50 fragments drop from each basic ship and 100 fragments drop from the barrage ship. So even if you don't get fruits, it's still a pretty decent way to get your hands on some fragments. So the next method to grind fruits is actually the simplest one on this list, and it's just simply picking up fruits. And this is pretty self-explanatory. You just walk around the map and you just pick up a bunch of fruits. But let me tell you guys some secrets about this that'll make your fruit grinding life a little bit easier. A fruit spawns into the game every 1 hour, and on weekends this timer is 45 minutes. Because the Blox Fruits devs know that most people are playing on the weekends. But you actually have no way of knowing where on the map the fruits spawn. So if you're serious about grinding fruits, then I recommend you guys to get the Fruit Notifier Game Pass, because this notifier literally tells you exactly where the fruit is. Well, not exactly, just tells you how far away from it. And if you have more than 5 IQ, you should be able to find your way over to that fruit. Downside to this game pass is that it obviously costs a butt ton of Robux, literally 2,700. And if you're grinding, I also recommend you guys to be on the first sea because it's the smallest out of all the 3 seas. Only downside to this, I would say, is that if other players have the game pass, then they might be able to get to the fruit faster than you. So if you're doing this, I recommend public servers that have a low amount of people, because if you do this in a private server, then the fruit spawning times are increased by a butt ton, and this is to prevent hackers and exploiters from just grinding fruits super fast. Overall, this is a pretty solid way to grind some fruits, but I definitely recommend a bunch of other secrets on this list. So the next method we got on this list is literally the most obvious one here, the Blox Fruit dealer himself. And this is an NPC that you literally cannot miss. He spawns in at the Pirate Starter Island, the Marine Starter Island, Middletown, Dressrosa Docks, the Cafe on the second sea, Mansion on the third sea, and Port Town on the third sea. And this guy is pretty self-explanatory. He will always have a minimum of 3 different fruits in stock, and if you talk to him, you can either buy the fruits from him for money or for Robux. But I recommend money because you don't really want to spend Robux on this. But if you do end up buying the fruit with Robux, then you get it permanently, and you can switch out to it whenever you want. Overall, a pretty solid NPC, and I definitely recommend this guy if you're looking for a specific fruit. Next up, we got the Blox Fruit Gacha, and this guy was previously known as the Blox Fruits dealer's cousin. He's kind of like the Blox Fruit dealer, but a little bit different, and you'll see why in a second. So the places this guy spawns in are at the jungle on the first sea, the cafe at the second sea, and at the mansion on the floating turtle in the third sea. And the way he works is you just walk up to him and you pay him a certain amount of money, and he'll give you a physical version of any random fruit in the game. And the amount of money you have to pay him depends on your level. If you're level 50, then you gotta pay him 32,000 belly, but if you're max level 2,450, 50, then you gotta pay him almost 400,000 belly. And also, if you have Roblox Premium, then these costs are reduced for you. And obviously, it's pretty hard to get the exact fruit of your choice, so if you're looking for a specific fruit, then I recommend the Blox fruit dealer. But then again, you could just roll this guy whenever you want, because who knows, you just might end up getting a dough fruit. You'll never know until you try.